Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was released in 1912 by the Thanhouser Company. This is the one that Florence La Badie was in. She was only in it for like 5 minutes. This is a 12-minute film. Yeah, she wasn't in it very long. Now, this film follows the stage play. And in fact, this is the first film to follow the stage play. I don't know why I thought that John Barrymore and Nita Naldi's version was the first to ever do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know where I was. I don't know. but here we are. And even the 1912 version is not the first film version, but it is the first film version to follow the stage play version. However, when it comes to the portrayal of Mr. Hyde, it was the first one to portray Mr. Hyde as Robert Louis Stevenson did in the book. So, yeah, kind of did a back and forth kind of a thing. So, I was a little underwhelmed with this film. Look, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is like one of my favorite stories. I'm sure we all know the story, so I don't really have to recap. But, this is the thing, first of all. James Cruze, who is also the director of this film, played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, I was reading up on this film, and all of a sudden, there's like this other guy, his name is Harry Benham, and he's suddenly saying, I guess like in the 60s, he was saying that he doubled as Mr. Hyde. He was like one of the extras, and then all of a sudden he was pulled in to play at some point, but then like the historian for like this movie said, no, he didn't. He was too short to do that. It's just like, what? This is confusing. What's going on? So yeah, that was a little. And when it came to the portrayal of Mr. Hyde, this is the thing. I've seen quite a few of these silent monster movies that are only like 10, 12 minutes long. I mean, you think of Frankenstein, the very first Frankenstein that was released by Thomas Edison. That was like 10 minutes. And it was magnificent. I mean, the fact that the I want to say birthing, when he was awakened, that's what I want to say. When he was awakened, it was brilliant. It was absolutely wonderful. This one, it was just, I don't know. They spent too much time in the lab. There was just way too much. Now you also think about with John Barrymore's version, and of course it's a lot longer. It's like almost 2 hours long. But you had like the menacing moments, and you got more of the personality of both. This one, it was like you got way too much of him trying to change back and forth, and he was just spastic. It was just it was just, he was trying too hard to do the Jekyll Hyde thing. It was not enjoyable. And when I read critiques on it, they were saying the reign of terror, quote unquote, is just two little scenes. And it's true, because they're focusing way too much on the lab. But if you actually, I mean, like I said, with these other monster films that I've watched, with the short films and everything, even with that short amount of time, they are still able to do so much. And this one, it just, I don't know. You even think about Legend of Sleepy Hollow and how much they did in like 10 to, what was it, 15, 20 minutes? Yeah, so it was just so underwhelming. And another person said that that Hyde acted more like a unrestrained child who was allowed to run amok by a distracted parent. I gotta agree. It was just, and I don't know. Maybe it's because I've seen the John Barrymore, and I liked that version. But it just, I don't know. But at the same time, there are those versions that you're just not gonna. But yeah, I was really hoping to see Florence after doing that video on Florence, and she's only in it like a total of 5 minutes. You know, and I know that in the play, um, Dr. Jekyll has a sweetheart, so you would expect to see her a little bit more, but she was barely there. Because they were so focused on that laboratory. So anyway, yeah, did I hate it? Not really. No, because the transformation scene was interesting. It was, and the fact that this was the first one to use the stage play and also use Robert Louis Stevenson's idea of Mr. Hyde, then no, it's not that I hate it for those reasons. No, it's just they fixated too much on one thing. There was that problem. And when Tannhauser has their star and only uses her for 5 minutes, that kind of bothers me too. So, but anyway, so this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was released in 1912.